the magnetic radiance of your God's being. If you are new here, I invite you to put aside what you have learned before and what you might have gathered from any specific spiritual tradition or any specific practice or even any teacher that you followed before. And I invite you to simply stay open and receptive. Because it is only in this way that you can listen with your whole body, with your whole being, without bringing your mind into our meeting. And what is your mind? Your mind or yourself or your ego is the collection of your past memory and conditioning. It is like a little memory chip that is installed in your body, making your body perform in a certain way, doing certain things, going after certain objects, creating certain things in your life. And the way to go beyond this program is to step aside from your past memory. And that's what we have been doing through our practice of being present, being aware, and embodying our true innate nature. Because humanity at large lives in a very slow dimension of energy. And that is dimension of the energy of the past. Because everyone is thinking. And that's what we've been taught. We've been taught to think. But not everyone is realizing that you can only think when you reflect on your memory. So see, your intelligence gets the reflection on the memory that is your past conditioning, your experience, your pains, your wounds. So your intelligence gets the reflection on that memory. And then when you come into contact with life, you are all the time putting that memory into the present moment or the presence of life, which is always now. So if you live in this dimension of energy, and let's take a visual symbol of energy. Imagine two lines, vertical and horizontal. So the vertical line is the line of the presence or the present moment, the presence of vital life that you are. And the timeline that is running from the past to the future, the line of memory, that's a horizontal line of time and space, because movement needs space. right? From the past to the future, it needs space. So what your mind is doing, it takes its origin, the origin of thought in the memory, and then it imposes that memory into the present moment, and then transform that and makes it projection into the future. Yeah. I invite you as we go along to watch that together with me. So we are discovering the mechanisms of our operation, how our human mind and how our constructed identity or constructed psychological self or ego works. So that's constant imposition of the past into the present cause conflict with life. Yeah. So that's why humanity lives in a perpetual struggle and in perpetual conflict between what is life now, the presence of life now, and what they think should be. Yeah. So we all think that we have to be somewhere else than where we are now, or things should look different than the way they look now. And that creates enormous resistance, enormous discontent with the movement of life. Because life, as we mentioned already, it functions in its own rhythm of supremo cosmic intelligence. It does not pay attention to what your program is, because that life that is within you, and that's what you are fundamentally, that life wants you to come out of that horizontal line. Because the horizontal line is the line of suffering, it's the line of striving, it's the line of running after things, it's the line of forcing things, it's the line of unhappiness. Naturally, because if you are approaching your life every moment with fundamental discontent between what is now and what you think should be, you perpetuate the cycle of discontent. And you are running in the hamster wheel here because you are running from the past into the future. So you created kind of the hamster wheel of your mind that is goes on and on and on and on and on and on, keeping you running somewhere. And that's what so many are doing. They can't sit still. And even if they are sitting still, they must occupy themselves with watching TV, with listening to the music, with checking internet, with listening to something. They can't simply remain present now without any occupation. See, because the moment you are out of the horizontal line of time, you come into the dimension where I'm taking you today. The dimension of the magnetic radiance of your God's being. Now, if you are new here, just a few words to mention about God. Here we use this word in the sense to describe our innate reality, our deep, fundamental innate reality, our true nature. We don't see God as something separate from ourselves. We see ourselves and experience ourselves as being a cell of God's being, an integral part of God's being, which is the vast, enormous, majestic, magnificence that exists in your body. So the way you've been conditioned to function in a horizontal line of time, we want to bring our whole living life in the vertical dimension, and then the approach the living life that is in time, because your body is in time. Yeah, your body was born, it's gonna die. So the body is in time, and your daily living life is in time. But we want to elevate our living life in time by bringing it under the order of the vertical dimension, so that we are not distracted by the movements of our mind anymore, by the movements of ourself, that we are grounding ourselves in that deep dimension that is timeless, that is always now, always now, always now. And that is the consciousness that we are working towards. And it's not even the right word to say we are working towards, because that consciousness is us fundamentally. That is that cosmic intelligence or cosmic consciousness or pure consciousness that is not based on the past and is not based on thinking. Because remember, thinking is always based on the past. You can't think if you're not in the past. You must have some memory to think about. And on a practical level, that's okay. We allow that when we need to think about practical matter by using our memory or our learned knowledge about certain subjects. Yeah, how to build a car, for example. No one builds a car here. I don't know where this example comes from, but you get the point. The practical matters, we can use our memory for that, and we can use our mind for that. But what we want is to get out of that overthinking pattern that keeps running our daily living life, where we are so identified with it, so where we keep allegiance to it, where we think that the thinker is ourselves, where we believe our thoughts and feelings, because all our thoughts and feelings meaning emotions, they are not true. They are not true. They arise from the past. So If we keep on running in this level, in this dimension, we are limited all the time by our thoughts and feelings. And what we creating in our life will be determined by our thoughts and feelings. So we want to come out to a different dimension of reality, a different order, the cosmic order of life itself, the life that is also within you, that is not separate from you. Because unless you realize this deeper dimension of yourself and make it your daily living life by refusing to go into habitual identifications with your thoughts and feelings, and by gradual reduction of your psychological scaffolding of past memory, you come more and more here. You go deeper, 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 deeper. Now, so here we are not reaching enlightenment. We are not reaching some divine state tomorrow. We are not reaching pure consciousness tomorrow or God consciousness tomorrow, because that's fundamentally what is here. And we are going to see and realize and experience this place with you today. So we come out of all of that. So what we are doing here, we are clearing, exposing, dissolving the mechanisms that still keeps us entangled in that horizontal dimension. So, as you can imagine, as we descend deeper, 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 deeper down, we come into a different depths, different layers of time or past memory. And that we need to look at and transform. So we are already divine beings. We are already a part of God, a cell of God's being. What we want here is to live that, to be an embodiment of magnetic radiance of God's being in form, in time. So we are bringing that enormous intelligence, that magnetic power into our body. Because our body, as we said, is in time. And we want to serve that. We want to serve something that is true, something that is real in our life. Because if you have been serving your memory and doing things in the world influenced by your conditioning, you are simply serving the past. You are serving the limited notion of yourself that is seeking to fulfill itself in some way or form. And whatever it does, the limited notion of self will be limited in its actions, in its potency, in its impact. Now, does it mean that you have to do great things in the world? Not necessarily. See, what you do in the world is determined by that cosmic intelligence that is within you. And how does it work? Why a dog knows how to be a dog? A cat knows how to be a cat. They do what they do, right? They don't need thousands of courses to be who they are. Why? Because they still function in being in touch with their instinctive intelligence, with life that is inside them. So when life touches a particular form, that form already is programmed by the intelligence to do certain things. Which is why all of you have a unique gift, unique talent, unique individuality. But that can be uncovered only here, only when you are deeply in touch with that supreme intelligence of life in the vertical dimension. Because here, yeah, in the dimension of time, when you are running on your memory, on your conditioning, and on your past painful experiences, that creates only dissonance with your true nature, because you are imposing something that is unnatural to your intrinsic nature. That's why if you are in your personality, and all personality is basically the product of the past. The personality cannot be authentic. It cannot be individual. It just mimics some of your conditioning or some of the behaviors that you learned since your childhood, because you wanted to please someone, or you learned the ways of the world, that if you are like this way, you're going to be more accepted and you're going to be liked. So we learned not to express our authentic nature. So we kind of put up this facade of false personality that we want people to love, to accept, to admire. And it doesn't criticize, it's not to criticize you if that's what is happening. It's not your fault that any of these things has happened to you. I want you to know that, because if you function in the conditioned way, you gathered the memory of the past, the memory of the humanity. Your mind is not really yours, and your personality is not really yours. It was given to you by others, by their opinions about you. Your personality is largely formed by the opinions of others about you. So that's why when you start coming here, you start shedding a lot of falsehood about yourself. And that's exactly what we want to do here. Because you have gold inside you. Every single one of you has gold. And we've never really been taught to look at ourselves in that way and to get in touch with that gold and make that gold shine and radiate. Instead, we've been told that we are not good enough, not worthy even in some cases. So we learned that we need all the time to get some feedback from the others. To be liked, to be accepted, to be recognized, to be needed, to be valued. So we're all trying to get feedback from the outer about ourselves. And that's how we build our personality. That is totally and absolutely false. And here, when you come here and you hear the truth and you stay in this energy, you start to see through this web or the matrix, the matrix of your mind, the matrix of your past memory, the matrix of yourself that gets exposed here, and then you can see through. And what you can see through? You can see the magnetic radiance of your gold, your exquisite luminous nature, your majestic being. Because being cannot be anything else than great. It just can't. It just is great because God is great. And whatever you create in your life from that place is going to be great. It doesn't matter what it is, what extent of it. It can be impacting millions of people, or it can impact very small circle of people. It does not matter because it's going to be right for you. And it's defined by the supreme cosmic intelligence, the instinctive intelligence of life. Now, I invite you to go with me into this place and to discover that place of luminosity, that innate gold that you are. Shall we?